And I am not a dictator who sits here and says, I say this, I say that. But the friendship, the fellowship, the fraternity in my home with my children, my 14-year-old would never think of bringing a boyfriend to go into my bedroom. Not because I'm afraid, but I know that it would hurt Daddy to do that. You see?
John, I am not disagreeing with that.
Okay.
But my basic point here is this. You have to be careful that you don't handle that situation where your child, be boy or girl, say, okay, I can't do it home. I'll be able to do it by my friend. And these things that I can't try home and my parents don't want me to try home, I will now go and try it at a friend. You see, you just don't you see what I'm saying here, you just don't stop the child and tell the child, don't do this and you can't do this in the house. You tell the child why.
Exactly, that is parenting skills. That is what I'm talking about. I am not encouraging eye service. Eye service is when you make the child understand, don't do it because I say so. When you are not there, the child will do it. People flock children, and the children don't do the wrong things because they are afraid of the lash, not because they want to be obedient to the parents. They're afraid of the lash, but the parent foolishly believes, my child, but she would never do that, boy. She like the rest. You know why? Because she's afraid of the whip which you use. I heard of a lady who had a couple of children, and she had a strap. She had it pinned onto a ledge, and there was a writing she had there. You know what it read? I need thee every hour. And they tell me she used it every hour. Those children were real nice children, in inverted commas, because she thought they were nice. That don't make you nice. They were afraid of the blow.
True.
But when you talk with children and you become a friend to your child, you let them know that these things happen. They might have happened to me too. But I am talking to you, and you create a relationship with your child.
With your children.
Of course, that makes the difference. The child is not afraid when you whip. There's no whip. You sit and talk with them. You don't talk at them. You don't talk to them. You talk with them. And you don't talk in anger. You never tell the child, you got me really angry. What you did really hurt me. Makes a big difference.
Sure.
Parenting skills.
Do you have any more emails?
Yes, we've got two more here so far. Let me read the third one. And this third email, and this is from Kurt Leonard. Hello, Kurt. A very good evening to you. Thanks for calling. It says, dating doesn't mean they will have sex. You can go on a friendly dating, so I will allow it. Thank you very much, Kurt. Thank you so very much.
Well, Kurt, subject picker. Well, I don't go on a date with my friend. Let's put it that way. I would not go, when I go on a date, I don't know you're going on a date with a friend, a casual friend. You probably will go on an appointment or just a meeting or something, or lime out. But if you go on a date, it is something different. You ain't going on a date with a friend. What is a casual thing?
You're talking about an adult. You're not talking about children. They're children who go and spend a little time at one another.
That's right.
Sometimes you find two girls going, and then anything homosexual about that?
No. Is that a date?
They're friends.
Is that a date? When somebody dating...
No. What I'm saying... No, George, what I'm saying is this. The same way two girls will go out, or two boys will go out, and just because they're friends, a boy and a girl will go too.
Yeah, but that's not a date. That is not a date. When you go out on a date, I think you go out on a date with somebody who you intend to date, or somebody who you are dating. You go out with somebody on a date who you intend to have a relationship with.
You're talking about 14-year-old children at school?
Yes, this is 2012.
So
this is 2012. 12-year-olds are having sex. This is 2012. I'm talking about 14-year-olds.
10-year-olds are having sex. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is that my 14-year-old will not go on any date with somebody that I have not met. There will be somebody that I know. This is my daughter's little friend.
Absolutely correct.
Yes, that's a different
issue. Parents as well.
I agree with you.
No,
and it is like the two of those have drawn the two families together.
Yeah, I think you see, I think the issue is getting a little clouded here. We're talking about dating here. We're talking about dating. If a couple goes out on a date, whether they're 18 or 28, couples, they will go out on a date because they're dating. They're going out on a date because they intend to have a relationship.
Yes, I agree.
Right. And that's the basic point is. So I don't know two friends who go out on a date. If it's a casual friendship, that's not a date.
So why this?
So we call that what?
It's a casual line out, or a casual line out, or yes, it is a casual line out or something. A date, when you go out on a date, you go out on a date with somebody who you intend to have a relationship with. You go out with somebody who you're dating.
So when George, when your 14-year-old son get to know my 14-year-old daughter because they're at a co-ed school and they become close friends, for whatever reason, they're very close to each other. I get to know George through his son. George get to know me through my daughter, and George and his wife get to know my wife and I, and the family meeting thing, the two children there. And the little boy, the two of them decide they're going to movies Saturday evening, to see a show Saturday evening. What is it called that? Then a date. And then going in a motor car to go and down on the beach and thing, because a 14-year-old can't drive in the car.
True.
When I say can't drive, not allowed by government to have the car on the street.
Yes, I am sorry that I have to call back, but I want to make some.
Go ahead, Paula. Paula, go ahead. If you get enough feedback, try to ignore the feedback. You probably hear yourself.
I am trying.
Paula, what is happening?
Go ahead, Paula, we can hear you. Go ahead. We can hear you.
What you get enough feedback, and I think it's sort of confusing. If you can lower your whatever you listen, your speakers down or something, and just talking to the headphones or well, let me just make this for callers when you're calling. If you can lower if you're listening on the computer and you have your speakers up, if you can lower them down, because what you're gonna get a delay and you will get confused, and really this is what happened to the last caller. So what you could do is just lower your speakers down, and then you could make a call. We are hearing you. When you call, we are hearing you loud and clear. Yeah. John was looking up.
I was saying that a 14-year-old would not be in any motor car because the government doesn't allow a 14-year-old to be driving a car on the road. So these are two friends from school, 14-year-olds. You know, I'm not talking about somebody who is 18 or 19 who is probably in tertiary education. I'm talking about children 13 onwards, that's 13 to 15. That age, 13 to 15, even 16, 13 to 16. I am totally responsible for you because you are considered a minor.
But minors have sex.
Do you know that? Do you know that if children under the age of 15, 13, 14 are left in a home, the child care board can bring a case against them?
Yes, John. That goes without saying. That is in no dispute.
Which means that those children are totally under your control. I don't like to say control. I don't like controlling. I don't think one person should control, and I don't care who you are. I believe in management. Mm-hmm. They are in your management. And therefore, how could you tell me that one of those could come and bring a boyfriend or a girlfriend to my place and go in one of my bedrooms and lock a door?
Well, we've been through that. We've been through that already. You know, even if they're not allowed to bring them into the bedroom, the fact that they're going to be out when nobody's around to supervise them, I am telling you, they are going to explore every opportunity they get
But
to
George,
become intimate and know one another.
George, you cannot say that. You can't be dogmatic about that because there are children who listen to parents. And like I said, I am not telling you, dare you do that. This is the forbidden fruit. That's probably why Adam and Eve ate the fruit, because they were given an order. You know, an order. And there's a curiosity factor in all of us. The day you eat of this, you shall die. That's something different. People will defy that. But when you talk to the children and tell them, you're not ready yet, but it is a wonderful experience when you get there. And you talk that way to them, and you let them know that you trust them and whatnot. That makes a big difference. So I don't think there's any double standard there.
Right. Well, I see. Okay. I know we have a next email to read, and look, let's read the next email before I continue with what I want to say. Okay. I don't want the callers who trying to participate from outside really. So.
Okay, we've got an email here coming from. It sounds like Tara Summers. Thank you, Tara, for your email. And it says, shout out to DJ Alex and the crew. Dating is a process. As a parent, once you have a good relationship with, it's a process. As a parent, once you have a good relationship with the child and instilled the right values, then it's okay to allow dating. Remember, dating has responsibility and doesn't mean sex is packaged with it. Thank you ever so much, Tara. The panel's comment.
Well, I agree. But you see, I'm telling you, subs, the elements out there are so strong. The situation out there is so strong. The fact that two people dating and no sexual activity is taking place is very minute, and the percentage for that is very, very, it's hardly unlikely, very low. Let's face that fact. The kind of world that we live in now and the kind of influences out there for the youths, the kind of information that the youths have available to them at their fingertips. The fact that two youths are dating and no sexual activity is taking place is very, very minute. It's hardly unlikely. It's not impossible. I can't say that it don't go on, but it's a rare case. It's rare instances that will be happening because of the kind of world that we're living in today.
If you are the product of a good parentage,
I don't think it would happen.
It is not unusual. You see, children live what they learn. And there are very many people who start to train their children at age 15. You are wasting time.
True.
You start training your child from the time it can look you in the face and say, Dada, Mama. You start training it from then. You slack not your riding. Stick-to-itiveness is the operative word. But how many parents really take time to be parents? There are people who went and had a sexual run around and an accident occurred. That is it.
I rather to go like and say an unplanned situation occurred. Okay. Now, John,
I don't want to call it a mistake.
John, you said something. You said something a while ago. You know, if you instill the right values in the training, when your parenting comes in, are you telling me? I live next door to you. We know one another. I live in Trinidad. You live in Barbados.
Yes.
If I say to my 14-year-old, 13-year-old, 15-year-old, I instill in them. I speak to them and I talk to them, educate them about sex and so. But I don't have a problem with they engaging in sexual activities and all of that. But I said to them, this is the way you must go about it. Try not to get pregnant, the consequences of picking up sexually transmitted disease or such. But in my judgment, I feel that the 14 or 15-year-old is doing nothing wrong in getting sex. Engaging in sexual activity. Are you saying to me that I am not a good parent because I see it a little different to you and say, look, 14 and 15 is not a bad age to start having sex? Are you saying to me now that I am not a good parent?
Without doubt, yes. That's exactly what I'm saying. Any parent who can look at their 14-year-old child and say, careful here. Any parent who does that is not a responsible parent. A 14-year-old. It is true that I know that there's certain things that are really happening. And we can't hide under the leaf from the ultraviolet rays of the sunlight. There are things are happening. What I'm saying is, I am talking about my child, you know. I'm not talking about children. My child. And this is the sort of rapport I would have with my child. And if you train up a child in the way it should go, believe it or not, that child doesn't drift.
Yes, definitely go for a break and come back here and wrap up. I see, I want to come back at this point. No, we'll go for a break after make this one. John, yes. We talk about society setting standards first. We talk about society setting standards. You can't expect that you believe that your 14 or 15-year-old son or daughter should not be engaging in sex. And if you take somebody from a different culture or different way of life who see things different from you, and they think that, look, if my 14-year-old son or daughter have sex with one partner who start engaging in sexual activity, but in a responsible manner, something is wrong with them. A 14-year-old and a 14 or 15-year-old, sorry, from let's say 16-year-old, could be responsible in sexual activity.
Let me ask you something, George. Quickly, let me ask you something. If your 15-year-old daughter came to you and said, Dad, I haven't got any money, but I would like a package of condoms. Can I have some money to buy a package of condoms?
You know what I'll do? You know what I'll do? What
would you do?
I'll reply to you after the break. I hold it short. Right. I remember this. It's time for us to go to a break and I'll reply to you.
Okay.
Let's spring into action. In today's demonstration, let's see what happens to those that drink and drive. CCV Radio wishes to advise, if you value your life, don't drink and drive. If you decide to have a few, take a back seat and have a designated driver. Tell it as it is, with your hosts, Leon George and Leary McRae.
Real talk, real issues.
Yes, welcome back to Tell It Like It Is on the #1 internet station around in the world today. My name is Leon George, and with me tonight, my two hosts is Larry McRae in St. Lucia and John Kilman in Barbados. John, before we go to the break, we were discussing responsible parent, and you said that any parent who allowed the 15-year-old, 16-year-old son or daughter to engage in sexual activity is not a responsible parent. Do you still hold that?
That is correct.
Right.
That's what I said, and I believe.
John, let me tell you something. Me personally, I also would not allow my 16-year-old or 17-year-old. Sorry, well, I want to tell you my 17-year-old stepson did came home with a child and for the 24-year-old woman, and that's a story by itself. Anyway, I will not allow my 15-year-old or 16-year-olds to engage in sex, but I will not do like you and say any parent who allow that to happen, they are not responsible. I am telling you, parents, you have to know the maturity level of the child. And if you see that your child is 15 or 16 years old, because I tell you if you look at different cultures and different religious belief and all this kind of thing that you have to take into consideration. And there are people who believe in this world that a child reach the age of 14 is that the right age for them to start sexual activity, and in fact start to even look to even get themselves in a serious relationship and get married, and get into marriage. So therefore, we cannot, and it's not fair to say anyone. There might be a lot of parents out there who really irresponsible for truth, and see their 16-year-old and 15-year-old engaging in sexual activity, and it will be no bother to them. And such people, yes, they can be irresponsible. But to make this a blanket statement and put it on all parents who allow the teenagers to engage in sexual activity at the age between the age of, I would say, 15 to 17 are irresponsible. That I can't go with that. Even if I will not allow it, I can't say that, because you have to. And we talk about societal standards a while ago. If they feel that is correct for them and it is all right for them, who is me to say that is wrong?
If I feel that a homosexual relationship with myself and some guy that I know is right, I feel it is right, who's to say that I'm wrong? That's the same question I'm putting back to you. You tell me if you agree with that.
Yes, I agree with that, yes.
My son comes and says, Daddy, I am gay. He's 14 years old. And he wants to make love to his friend. I said, well, if he feels that way, I will be out of place.
No, I think John, you're missing the point. It's not a question of the parent accepting what the child wants to do or engage in, what kind of sexual activity that is the child wants to get in. It's a question here of values from a different perspective and a different point of view. You may have a one point of view, and somebody who does not come from the same society that you come from, it is normal, absolutely normal, for a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old to even think about getting in serious relationship and get married. Why must I say that this is wrong? I can't.
Oh no, George, I believe that I might have misled you, because that's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about within our culture here. I am talking Caribbean, you know. I am not talking about places that I don't know how those people behave. I'm talking about here what we can share. You are the Trinidadian, I'm a Barbadian, Larry is a St. Lucian. We share the same sort of values. I'm not talking about, I know there's certain people that the parents choose the child, the child's spouse. And when that child is about 4 years old, a husband is.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir. Yeah, good evening, sir.
Oh yes, question. Well, more of a comment than a question. What Mr. John was saying, well, good evening to everyone again. What Mr. John was saying about a parent being wrong in allowing their, well, between 14 to 16 or below the age of 16-year-old child to engage in adult activities, that person would be very irresponsible and wrong, would be quite accurate, because specifically at what Mr. Leon was saying about there are certain cultures where, you know, these things are acceptable and the norm. In these said cultures, the consensus and what they are coming to realize in the more modern days is that, you know, these girls, well, basically is mostly girls that are forced into these marriages at this young age. They grow up with certain social and mental, well, how to put it, ailments in terms of stress and suicidal and all of these things. And world over, they are trying to abolish these things, whereby to bring up the age where girls are forced to be married. So if you want to use that as a ruler to say, okay, well, you can't call somebody irresponsible, call them an irresponsible parent, because, you know, certain cultures would allow it. On the same hand, the same cultures that you're using as the ruler are trying to abolish that. So I would agree 100% with what Mr. John is saying in terms of a parent being very responsible in allowing a child to engage in adult activities. Second to that, the reason, over to the parenting thing, this is a comment for when you all were speaking about the parenting. Most parents now living in the 21st century are working. Therefore, who teaches the child? Most times you would leave your child with a grandparent. A grandparent can't keep up with a child that's, doing all these, okay, a child running here, a child running there, watching TV here, going upstairs, going downstairs. A grandparent wouldn't be able to keep up. The grandparent would say, go and watch TV. Or most times a parent will leave a child watching TV and go wherever to work or wherever it might be. And what the child seen on TV. All these different TV shows and all of that have a part to play. And to say that, okay, when on TV, let me just use television as the input here. On television, you would see that two grown-ups would go on a date. And it would be clearly shown as two grown-ups. Now, a child looking at this will say, okay, well, right. And at the end of the date, you will see them kiss. So you say, okay, well, in the child mind, they'll say, okay, well, after a date, we're supposed to kiss. And then on the same TV show, you might see the fella going to the girl house, and well, they would probably change the topic from there. But in that child mind, the child would perceive, okay, if I go on a date, then after that date is finished, it's a kissing after, and then, well, something inside the house, right? Today is the 21st century. Children would know, okay, what they're going to do there. Now, you expose your child and say, your child come to say, Mommy, I want to go on a date. From the time the child say the word date, then that's supposed to put in your mind, why my child want to date? What kind of thing is this? A child wouldn't just come and ask to go on a date. A child would say, Ma, I could go out with one of my friends, I could go out, or I could go hang out. If a child come in to ask for a date, that should indicate to you off the bat that is something serious. And at below the age of 16, it shouldn't be that serious.
Well, I hear what you say, but most in cases, a child will want to see the goal. But if a child, he or she, is interested in a particular individual, they will come to the parents and say that I am interested in John or Larry or what a person might be. And that's a different scenario. Where they say, because Larry might be 4 years older, 3 years older, 2 years older, Larry may not have the kind of, may not come from the same socio-economical background, that person come from. And your parents now will want to object that you going out with this person or even being interested in such a person. So with such characteristics that is so different from what you would have known or what I would have stirred in you or what you would have grown up with at home. And therefore that now becomes a conflict. And these issues comes up. Again, all these issues have to handle with great parenting skills.